What's up guys? In today's video I'm going to be doing a trade recap video on how I made $2,300 today trading stocks in the market. And yeah, I'm just gonna get right into it. Today is October 30th, 2024, and I'm just gonna go over some of the trades and why I did what I did. So let's get right into it. Alright, so let's just take a look, guys. So today, as you can see, the P&L for today, it was around $2,281 on the day. And I actually traded 11 different stocks today. 11 different stocks, but almost all of my profit came from two. I had one winner that was 5 hours, $1,973, basically $2,000, and another one that was $262. And then the rest were kind of just small paper cuts. I kind of hopped in, hopped out, made some money on some, lost some money. My biggest loss today was only $20, so that's pretty good. But yeah, we're just gonna go over my two biggest winners. And the first one was the SMCX. Now, this one I basically took right off the open, but if you guys remember, the first thing we want to do when we analyze a stock is look at the stock and the price action on the daily chart first. This is what I do every morning before the market even opens. So this stock's actually fairly new. It's a fairly new stock, and for the past few weeks it has just been trading sideways. Price action has just been chopping around, it's just moving sideways. This morning before the market opened, I noticed that it was gapping down in price. It was moving down in price overnight and it was going to open down. So I looked at where it was opening to, and I saw that it was gapping down to around 447. Now this is very important because it's gapping down in price, which gives it momentum to move lower. It's gapping down below this level of support that it was created. Now, the reason we trade these types of gaps is because, it gapped down, so we believe it's going to move down in price. But the reason to that is because when something gaps down in price below a level of support, it creates shock value. All the people who were invested in this position as a long, or who were trading this and held positions overnight as a long, and they were basically hoping this thing would move up in price, this morning they woke up to see that their position was underwater and they were probably down a lot on their position, which creates fear. Whenever people have this happen, it either gapped below their stop loss, which is usually a level of support, or just people in general saw that this stock has gapped down in price and they became fearful, which made them probably sell their positions. So we could see right off the open, and by the way guys, these four charts right here, this one right here is representing 1 minute time frame, 2 minute time frame, 5 minute time frame, and 15 minute time frame. So based off of the analysis on the daily chart, we can now look at these smaller time frames, and right off the open I found myself a nice entry because I believe this was going to move down in price based off of the daily buys. So I actually saw, it's called a high-low pattern on the 1 minute chart. Literally 3 minutes into the day, I hopped into this one. There was two candlesticks that formed. It kind of made it a little base. It kind of moved sideways, so I decided to enter below the base, which is around this line right here. And my stop loss was above the base. So I was shorting this. I was betting that I was going to move down in price. So yeah, I hopped in, and I was actually also using this tool right over here, which is the order flow. And I basically saw there was a lot of selling orders being built up right over here, and I got in with some big size, and we can see that this thing dropped a good amount. It dropped, and I was a little oversized because I was kind of scalping it based off of the order flow, but I hopped in and then moved down. I had around 2,000 or 3,000 shares, and this first trade I took on it made me around $1,200, which is about 3 hours for me. So it went down, and then I did 1 minute bar by bar, which basically means I lowered my stop every time a new 1 minute bar finished forming. So right here, I lowered my stop to right above this candlestick, right over here, my trailing stop loss. Then it continued to move down, so I lowered my stop to above this candlestick, and it moved down again, and I lowered my stop to above this candlestick. So once it moved up and broke this 1 minute bars high, I exited the position. Now, at this time, I already made $1,200 like 8 minutes into the day. Usually after a big trade like that, I usually like to be a little more passive, kind of take a step back and take a breather. But I was contemplating as playing this as a reversal, as a climactic, and maybe hopping in as a long, because this thing became accelerated. You could see the spike in volume, which tells us there's the final group of sellers have sold their position, and that's also an indication that a reversal may happen. And I was contemplating of hopping in with entry above this little 1 minute bars doji, stop loss lows of the day. And then I kind of was just, I just made $1,200 8 minutes into market open. Let's take it easy. But then look what actually happened. This thing ended up flying higher. So that was a mistake on my end of not being aggressive enough, I think. But nonetheless, it was a $1,200 trade. And then I kind of kept an eye on this later on in the day. As the day goes by, I start looking at the larger time frames, transitioning my focus from the 1 and 2 minute chart to the 5 and the 15. So later on in the day, I actually saw another setup, the base breakdown setup. If you guys don't know this already, make sure to go watch my videos on the education. But I saw a base breakdown setup on the 5 minute chart, entry below the sideways movement, below this low level of support, stop loss above it. We can also see that the 20-day period moving average is hugging price basically on all time frames at this point. That line was a little crooked, but you guys get the point. So yeah, we can see the 20 MA is touching price here on the 2 and the 5 minute. So once it broke down this base, I hopped into a short position, and then ended up moving down all the way from my entry price to around right over here. I think I took half of my position 5 minute bar by bar at this point. So I took half once it crossed this 5 minute bars high, and then I took another half 15 minute bar by bar. So once this 15 minute bar finished forming, I took my second half. So probably could have made more on it, but overall I captured $2,000 on the stock today. I think if I caught that flip earlier in the day, this could have been a $4,000 or $5,000 trade or stock trade right here, but is what it is. I'm happy with it. And the second trade I took today didn't actually make that much because I was a little undersized on it. I was a little cautious of it, but this was also very early in the morning. And on the 1 and the 2 minute chart, I saw a base breakout pattern. Now, remember guys, a base breakout is basically when something isn't in a trend, it starts moving sideways, and then we enter once it starts breaking out of that trend. So I saw that pattern on the TTI today. It was obviously bullish. It had a bullish gap. Now, you can see this gap isn't as clear as the last one, but it's basically the same thing. Yesterday, we saw a lot of selling. It moved down in price, so a lot of people sold their positions. And then this morning, people woke up to see that this thing actually gapped up in price, which creates the opposite, effect of a gap down. People became really greedy, maybe bought back the position that they sold. People thought this thing's going to go higher, so that's what caused me to actually like this stock in the first place. The fact that it moved down a lot yesterday and today it gapped up. So yeah, I like this. I had a bias that it was bullish. We could see the 20 MA on the 1 and the 2 minute time frame was curling higher, and it was underpriced and it wasn't extended, which means that this thing has momentum to continue higher. So if we actually take a look at this pretty closely, we could see this thing was basing. It was actually penny basing. It was basically sitting at the same price for a few minutes without fluctuating at all. It was literally sitting at the same penny. So whenever something like this happens, it actually creates like a rubber band effect. The longer something sits at a specific price without moving, the larger the move will be once it breaks out of that price, whether it's up or down. So I started looking at this. I had my entry above this penny base, had my stop loss below it. I kind of got a little undersized on it. And then, yeah, this thing ended up looking good on the 1 and 2 minute time frame. And then it ended up moving up from $3.46 all the way up to $3.63. So I used a pretty tight stop, but I really undersized this. This should have been a home run trade as well. And then I think I exited at this point. I think I took most of my profits 2-minute bar by bar. So I think I took a portion right here at this red line on the 2-minute chart. And then I think that I took half my position there, and then I did back half 5-minute bar by bar. So underneath this 5-minute bar's low, so around right here. So not the best trade. My mistake here was undersizing it, but good trade nonetheless. And yeah, it was a pretty calm day, pretty simple. There was some other setups that I was eyeing that I liked. I missed out on some stuff, but overall, I'm happy with I traded. Definitely could have capitalized more on these two stocks. And then my main loser was the Joby. I tried scalping it, lost 20 bucks, is what it is. But yeah, that's the end of the trade recap, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to message my Instagram account if you have any questions, and make sure to subscribe to the channel if you guys want to see more videos like this, if you want to see vlogs, if you guys want to see more educational content. Make sure to click that subscribe button. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.